Hi, and welcome to the Heal from Within series, where we're talking about healing our bodies, healing our lives, healing all naturally, raising our frequencies so we can live our best, healthiest lives. And I'm your host, Jodi Geline. And today I have Corissa St. Laurent on, and she's a transformational facilitator, speaker, advisor, and entrepreneur. And she's the founder of Everyday Mystic, offering inner exploration and guidance in consciousness expansion, and the co founder of Take a Trip, Change a Life, a transformational travel company. Welcome. It's
Thank
so
you,
nice to have
Jodi.
you, Corissa. Yeah.
Beautiful to be here.
Yeah, my daughter's middle name is Corissa, spelled
Oh,
differently, but
that's amazing. It's
yeah,
not, you don't
I
meet
love
too
that
many of
name.
us. How
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you got on this journey and became a leader in this field and all of your, mystic stuff you teach and consciousness.
Probably not unlike most of your guests, it came through my own walk through the fire and my own dark night of the soul and my own
Mm.
pain and suffering and
Yep.
trauma. So I won't go deep into that story, but just know that we relate as we walk on this path because we, as humans, whether it is something very what that seems very individual, it isn't. We are on this comparative journey where we get to see our other fellow humans also in their own suffering and trauma. And I had my own set of suffering and trauma. I
Mhm.
had an opportunity when I was 16 to learn how to heal myself from within. And that was
Nice.
after a traumatic accident, which I don't consider an accident. I don't believe that it was. I believe that it was my soul awakening me and saying,
Yeah.
you're meant for more than this. You are not meant to suffer, or here's a pathway out of your suffering. I do believe that I was meant to suffer in the sense of I asked for that experience, but I was also given the pathway out. And that was through a channeled experience, which I didn't know what was going on then because I was 16 years old and I was completely, I wasn't,
Scary, probably.
I was scared. I was in the intensive care unit. I
Yeah.
was typical child. I hadn't been raised by mystics or by spiritual people or by anyone who believed in this deep power that we have within us. And so for me, it was something that came out of the blue, completely out of nowhere. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew to trust it. I
Yeah.
just did. And there was no question in my mind or my heart that what I was being guided to was the right thing. And this voice, this presence, this energy spoke through me, spoke for me in the hospital. And then when I got home and I was in recovery, it guided me on my healing journey, showed me how to heal, showed me what to visualize, gave me supportive and just encouraging messages that I was going to be okay. And I learned, and I would lay there because I had to. I had a traumatic brain injury and skull
Mm.
fracture and, neck trauma, all of this. So I just had to lay around, not doing much. And I was a very active teen. So for me, this was
That's
complete,
hard.
just threw me
Yeah.
on my ass. And I needed to be there. I needed to be in that moment, to be with myself, to be with my pain, to be with this new presence in my life. And as I mentioned, what I experienced in the hospital, I just went with it and I just completely trusted this. And I just knew that this was the right thing for me. I didn't question it at all.
The
And I
inner
kept it to
knowing.
myself
Yeah.
because it wasn't anything, like I said, I didn't have family that would be like, ooh, tell me more, or, oh,
Right.
wow, that's so incredible. Like, here's some books or some information to take you
Yeah.
further. So because I didn't have that external support system, the work that I did got me to a certain point, but then I fell back asleep. Didn't I didn't have the right scaffolding to really take it to where eventually have come to, and continue to explore my consciousness, explore this inner power, explore this relationship that I had built with a self that I didn't know existed. I did continue to explore that, but I would say it was semi-conscious, and I was still very asleep in a lot of my behaviors, a lot of my activities, a lot of my mindset and thought process. And my body deeply suffered from that as I moved through my years. And I
Yeah.
got very much addicted to a lifestyle of numbing. So the numbing and distractions that I set out on led me to another awakening. This one wasn't as painful. This one did not come in the form of an accident, thankfully. But I was 20 years old, and this one came as a complete embrace in love. And again, I didn't ask for this. Wasn't seeking it, but obviously my higher self was there and guiding me and pointing me in the right direction. And I certainly was seeking it. I just didn't know I was. So that awakening, which came when I was studying abroad in the country of New Zealand, I was on a mountainside by myself. I had
Oh
hiked up
my gosh.
point.
Amazing.
It was breathtaking. It was so
Oh,
beautiful. But up until that moment, I literally was like breathtaking. I was trudging. I was completely like out of breath and really out of shape. I had let my body go. I had been drinking and drugging a ton. I was just not in good space, not in good form, let's say. I was not treating my body like a temple, and I got up to this point exhausted, grumbling, upset, pissed off, just feeling like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Kind of the bigger question, what am I doing with my life? But it was definitely concentrated in this moment. But when I put my pack down and I looked out onto the
mm,
expanse of this valley that I had reached, it just was beautiful
yeah.
and
Yeah.
took my breath in a different way. And I look out at this thing and I go, wow, okay, I'm going to spend a little time here, take this
Yeah.
all in. I pulled out my journal, and when I opened it, a card fell out. And this was a memorial card for my grandmother. And she had died a couple years earlier. And I carried this around with me in my journal, just to remember her. And it fell out onto the ground. I went and picked it up, and it was like she had this wry kind of smile, almost like the Mona Lisa. It's like, is that a smile? I don't
Yeah.
really know, but it's just this like knowing. And because she wasn't a boisterous, she wasn't someone to be like big smile, big, but it was this like just little wry smile.
Hmm.
And I picked up the card, and when I came up, everything around me exploded into light. And
Wow.
I was lifted up in this light and in this embrace and in pure love. It was a knowing again that I didn't question, because I knew love finally. I knew what it felt like. I didn't have any questions as to what was going on. I wasn't scared. It felt like the most beautiful thing that could be happening. I didn't feel like I was dying. I didn't feel like I might be going to heaven feeling. It was just this warm embrace and so much love. And I'm floating in this. And then I get this message that tells me my work, my mission, which was to go and heal my heart. Through that, I would discover my gifts and then share them with the world. So I was given this directive. I landed back down on the ground in the earth plane
Yeah.
and fell to my knees and just cried. It
Yeah.
was tears of joy, of relief, of tears that just needed to clear things.
Healing. Yeah.
Just healing tears. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
like I needed to clear things out through that. And then I got up and the human and my mind, raced back in to start to question the whole thing. Well, how are you going to do that? What's the first step? This is too big for you. All of that came rushing in.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I set off on another, 10 years or so of the space of still one foot in this consciousness expanding realm of all that is and love and beauty and full wholeness and how like so I've got one foot in that and then one foot still in my suffering, still like desperately clinging to this victim status and this broken person and this traumatized person and this
Yeah.
all the habits that went along with that.
Self-doubts, right? Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I straddled those two worlds for a good, well, more than a decade, but I got to another really powerful place of healing in my later 20s, going into my early 30s. And this is when I really started to take my health, my consciousness, my expansion into my own hands. But it came through learning a lot of practices for others. So that's when I went and got all my training. So I started doing body work, energy work, doing, consciousness expanding meditations and doing all of the hypnotic work, doing a ton of work, but learning it for others. I learned it through trainings and certifications so I could be a professional in this space. And
Yeah.
I was, of course, learning it for myself too, because that's absolutely what I needed was that work. But I still was separated from it because I was learning it from that on high place of, oh, well, I will give these gifts to others and I will teach others, but I hadn't fully accepted the gifts myself,
Mm, yeah.
you know? So that was another plateau because I thought, look at me, and I've done all this work and I've healed all these things and I've come to this place and I've manifested my soulmate. And I had done incredible work up till then, all of it, like no regrets, don't discount any of it. And yet I still wasn't quite there because I hadn't accepted all of that for myself. I hadn't fully surrendered to receive for me. And I was still doing it to uh, give, which is a beautiful thing. I mean,
Mhm.
absolutely, there's beauty in that. But you can only give as much as you receive,
Yeah.
right? So I hit
Yep.
that plateau where I was like, well, this profession isn't working for me. I'll continue this path on my own, but I switched professions at that point. It also came in line with moving to another state and the company I had built in Los Angeles, which is very open to holistic healing and these woo-woo concepts. It was not the case where I moved because it was at that
Mm.
time period, early 2000s, where wellness wasn't even a term yet. People were
Yep.
not aware of it outside of the bubble of Los Angeles or San Francisco and maybe a couple other places. And so it coincided with that, me kind of taking my journey back within instead of doing these services and focusing on this profession. I pivoted to marketing and business development work and helping other businesses grow and thrive like I had learned to do with my holistic wellness business. And that was a beautiful set of lessons. I mean, an incredible part of my journey because I got to learn all of these amazing skills and ways of growing a business, being a boss, truly.
Mhm.
Because my first business, I was learning how to be a business and learn, being a technician in my business, as well as learning how to be a business, and then learning how to be truly the owner of my business. And those are all three totally different roles.
Yeah.
So I got to learn, I got to be at that zoomed out view with business because it wasn't mine anymore that I was working on. I got to work on other people's businesses, and then I got to work for a publicly traded company. All incredible lessons to learn business, learn marketing, learn truly what it takes to be both an entrepreneur and also a corporation. So those are all beautiful lessons. And through that, we're spanning many years now. Through that, I also fell back asleep to some degree because, of course, I'm not focusing on that every day. I'm not doing that work. I'm doing other work. And I hit another low point, and it was all tied to drinking. I was in my early 40s and in New York City, awake, bleary-eyed, drunk at around 4:30 in the morning. My car had been towed. I heard the voice again. What the hell are you doing? It was just like, what? How many times do we need to hit you on the side of the head? How many opportunities do we need to give you,
Yeah.
show you what more invitations do you want?
Yeah.
And this one was a very humbling experience because I had risen to a point in my professional career that, oh, where I'm at, these things don't happen. You don't live this way, right? I have a certain title. I'm making a certain amount of money. I'm a family woman. I've got a husband and a child. I should have been, right, on paper, should have not been that person in New York City with her car towed, drunk at 4:30 in the morning. It was just a complete juxtaposition. So there was an opportunity again to go, what is going on here? What is happening? And I went into deeper places than I've ever gone, places that I was so afraid to visit and heal and accept and love, because ultimately that's what all of these inner parts, wounded children, all of the trauma within us just
Yeah.
wants to be loved, just
Yeah.
needs that love. And so
Yep.
I got back on that, okay, healing my heart mission. There's more to heal. There's more here for me to see, to visit, to explore. And from then, it's been about 10 years since that point. I've been on that deeper mission, which has brought me closer to God, closer to my own essence as a soul and a body, has really merged me with that voice that I heard in that hospital and that guided my healing way back when, because that voice wasn't separate from me. It was my divine essence. It was me in my highest and wisest form. And I finally
Mhm.
have merged with that in this knowing, oh, that was me that whole time. I was guiding me. I'm always guiding me. I, along with source consciousness, which I am just an emanation of, am always here with me, guiding me. So that's where I'm at now, Jodi. It's been a wild ride, a
What a
really
journey, huh?
incredible journey, which continues, right?
It always
It's
does.
nonstop. I always say it's like, right, just not it's not the destination that we are
Yeah.
heading for. It is the journey. It is all about the journey, because at every turn, there's going to be different bumps in the road and different things, shiny objects that may
Yeah.
divert you,
Totally.
right? So the journey is life. Life is this exploration of self consciousness, our wholeness, and who we really are. And it's a beautiful experience if we treat it as such. And that can be a hard thing to finally come to. Like, oh, everything is actually happening for me. I'm experiencing this out here as a reflection of my inner journey and
Mhm.
a reflection of what I'm experiencing within. All of that I know it takes time to get to this place, but I am happy I made it here. I'm so glad that I'm at this place of where I feel like what I can share now versus what I shared in, that first iteration of my healing path when I was doing a lot of hands-on work and a lot of energy work and guidance for people because I was also a wellness consultant. So I would guide people intuitively, but also because I studied all sorts of holistic wellness practices and methodologies and medicine so that I could guide people in the right direction. Beautiful time in my life. I think what I shared was helpful for people, but now it is I feel like whatever I share now is coming from a fully lived experience. It is me talking to others that are a reflection of me. And when you talk to me, it's a reflection of you. And we're
Yep,
right.
yep.
We're in this,
Yes.
it's experiencing this realm in a completely new but old way. It's what we
Mhm.
came in as. And getting back to that is just really humbling.
Yeah. Well, and it's like when you go through these experiences, because I have somebody ask, because you just know you've had a spiritual awakening and you can't really, like, oh, you do this and this and this, and then you'll have a spiritual awakening. It just doesn't work that way. And I remember when I went through it too, it was like all these things, I could see energy and colors, and I'm like, what is going on? And, it's like, you don't know, but there it is, like, to start shifting you vibrationally and in so many other ways. So, and look at the journey where you've just hit a next level of yourself and a next level and a next level. And we're taught in this world, like, oh, you get a good job and then you're going to be good, and then you can buy the house, and then you can retire, and all is great. And like, and then everybody's so striving to achieve and thinking they're going to arrive at this place, and why is this not working and that not working? And it's all kind of part of the design to have those struggles. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I see now why 20 years ago this happened, for growth, right? I mean, it's just the experiences of life.
They're
And
all invitations to growth. Everything
yeah,
we experience, all of them invitations, all of them opportunities, all of them are a call from the soul or from source to see yourself fully, to experience yourself fully. And if it's something that shows up in your body, usually an indication that you're not fully in your body. If it's
yeah,
something mentally and in your mind, it's an invitation that there is a closed off or toxic set of thoughts and voices that may not be yours infiltrated your mind. If
yeah,
we can pretty much define or diagnose ourselves in how the shitty things show up in our life and go, okay, this is a gift, this is a friend, and accept that first. See that as,
right. Because it sucks going through it for
yes, you're
sure.
like, okay,
Yeah.
this is awful, but what's the lesson here? What's the opportunity? Because I know that this is happening for me. I know that
Hmm.
this is something that I have been given as a gift. And then we can start to follow the thread into the body, into the mind, or to spirit if we've been completely cut off to that. And I feel like most of us in the Western world have been totally pushed up and reliant on the mind
Yep.
That's
Sure.
all that we are. It's just this like
Yes.
floating
Go to
head.
school, go to college. Yeah. Oh, and if you know things and you're smart, well, not necessarily.
Yeah, and
If you
you're
have the
told like if you
knowledge.
know the everything and you've reached these pinnacles of knowing from an intelligence standpoint,
Intellectual. Yeah.
yeah, then you're like you're it. You're all that in a bag
Yeah.
of chips.
There's so
But
much more.
right, and we've cut
Yeah.
ourselves off mostly from our bodies, and
Yes.
then for most of us also cut off completely from our spiritual nature,
Hmm.
from knowing ourselves as essence, as a energy body, as something outside of just this brain and this flesh.
Hmm.
So getting back to that wholeness from wherever the starting point is the goal, I believe. It's life. It's what we get invited to do. And it can be really fun
Yeah.
once you realize that that's what's happening. And once you realize that all of those things are invitations rather than like another awful thing that's happening to me, another depressing, sad, traumatizing thing. And this is a, I say this because I don't know who will end up listening to this, but this is not to say that things that happened to you when you were a child, when you had no autonomy, because we come into this human form needing to rely on other humans. We don't just get born like a deer and then even they have to rely on their parent, their parent deers for a
Yeah.
while. But there are some animals that come out and they're like, boop, I'm good. And they run
Like
off and
turtles. Yeah. Or
right.
yeah,
But
the
we have
sea
this
turtles.
a longer than any animal on this planet period of time with our adults in our shaping. We're reliant on them for our food and for our shaping. And yes, could that reliance end a lot earlier if it had to? For sure. I mean, there's awful stories of kids that had to take care of themselves from 6 years old on or 8 years old on, and they managed to do it, right? They managed. So it could happen earlier, but ideally, right? We're talking about at least the teen years of where you as an individual have developed enough to be autonomous, making your decisions. Up until then, you are reliant on adults and other adult figures who may not have your best interests in mind, who may do awful things to you, who may be horrible guides in this life, and not the right people to be coaxing your soul out from its, a hiding place or just simply loving you. So that happens and that is real and that is something that is part of this life experience. So once you get to that place, however, of autonomy where you actually start to question, what the heck is this all about? Who am I? That's your key right there. When you
Yeah.
start to ask those questions, whatever age that happens, then I'm ready to step into my autonomy because I'm asking questions of who? Who the heck are you asking those questions to? You're asking them of your higher self and of source. And you're putting it out there and you're putting it out there to be answered. We eventually figure out that we're the ones that provide that answer. We, meaning not our human self, but our whole higher self. That's the one that we are journeying back to so that we can get those answers from that self, get that love, get that assurance, and then get to be able to put all those stories behind us. So, like, oh, those were something that happened to another version of me. I'm not that version anymore. I am this whole divine version that came here to, yes, experience that, but to truly experience this that I've discovered, this that I've found, this that I get to be in every day and get to share eventually with others, which is, I don't know if it's the final part of the human journey, but it seems real culminating to get to that point of where we get through our walk and our experiences, get to give that to others in a genuine way, like
Yeah.
saying, I see you. I am you. Oh, I'm with you. And here, let me give you these words, this guidance, this um, facilitation, right? It can come in all these different forms. It can come in the form of healing work and courses and podcasts, and it can come in all sorts of forms. So that transmission is not the important thing. The important thing is that energetic space that you enter into with those people that you're serving, and that you enter into it through serving, through truly giving, which is what this series is all about too,
Hmm.
right? It's giving
Hmm.
of not just information, but giving of an energy of the heart, energy of the spirit, the true essence of those things. And I think through that all, it can awaken people to then go on their journeys. Because, like you said earlier, we can't tell you, do A, B, C, X, Y, and Z, and boop, you're
Yeah.
healed. We can't. But can we light the path? Can we put up
Guide.
signposts
Yeah.
and say, hey, over here, over here? We can
Hmm.
do those things. We can offer that from our true experience that can help. And that's truly what's helped me over the years, is being open to those kinds of messages, and then being open to my own messages and my own intuition and my own guidance, that comes in a lot of different forms. Our own guidance from our higher self and source can come through a Jodi. It can come through a book. It can come through a course. It can come through another channel. But ultimately, that is our self being reflected in that thing back to us to go, oh, okay, I'm seeing this now. I'm hearing this now. I'm understanding this now. I'm fully embracing this thing now. So we're getting it through all sorts of other people, other things, and other channels. But ultimately, it's our own wisdom coming back to us.
Hmm. And it's like you were talking, essence, energy, and it's the energy, and people feel that energy, and sometimes they don't even know, well, most of the time they don't even know what it is, but you can just feel it. And and that is such an indicator, and also being open-minded. When you were saying being open, I'll tell you, if I wasn't open-minded, I would not be where I am today, because it's like I was open to things, and then, okay, does this feel right for me? And that's where you expand.
Yeah.
But if you're so stuck in your ways, there's no growth.
Yeah.
No growth.
Which is why most people are led, who, well, will choose this path finally when they've hit a rock bottom, when they've hit
Yeah.
like no other, uh, none of this traditional stuff is working for me. I've tried every medicine, I've tried
Yeah.
every healer, I've done all the things. Or you hit a rock bottom with like something that sends you into the hospital, or a rock bottom of your relationship of 30 years just poof going away. Whatever that
Hmm.
rock bottom is, it often takes that.
Yeah.
And it's this kind of cruelty of this life, but
I
it
know.
it doesn't have to be that way. It can be that we are open and just aware of the whispers. And I know that's why you and me and everybody that you have on this series are here. Because if we can mm, help to make people aware that this is who they really are, and they have this relationship with self and source, and that they are so much more powerful than
Yeah.
they
Yes.
think
Oh
they
my
are.
gosh.
If that can happen before they hit a rock bottom, before they lose everything, before it's, that shit hits the fan moment, isn't that beautiful?
Hmm.
Right. And we would have been in our ancestral days been taught these ways of connecting to our wholeness and being one with nature, which is one
Yeah.
with ourselves and our body. I feel like our planet is our body, and our being at one with nature just tunes us in completely with our body. And then we'd also have been taught how to connect to the mystery and connect to that source consciousness, the energy outside of our planet and this earthly realm, and be connected to that and know where we came from and know that we still have connection to that and can gain wisdom from that place. We would have been taught these things. We would have been shown
Yes.
these things and guided in that way. And it's not to say we can't be now, but I believe there is a awakening going on among people like us, everyday people. More and more of us here are going, oh, okay, this is what this is. This is what this is really about. Hey, and we're out here telling other people about it so that they awaken, so that they gain their own map, right? It's like,
Yeah.
here's the map. Now go find yourself. Again, we can't tell them how they're going to go on that journey. There's so many paths all to the same place.
Yeah.
But we can at least give them the map, give them a lantern and say,
Right.
here you go. And through that process, many more people can then be those guides that can help teach the practices and the wisdom and just help facilitate these openings and this understanding at an earlier time for people. Maybe someday we'll get back to that place where humans and humanity is operating in that way. I feel like that's what's coming. It's like we swang, enough to one
Ugh,
direction, and now
way
we're
too far.
swinging back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. This time of life is just really beautiful to be part of.
Yeah. 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 I like that. Yeah. It's coming back to that. I've always talked about nature and natural my whole life. And it's like I can just see, and you were talking about wellness too. Like, yes, it's like since I was like 20, I was preaching health and wellness, and people were like, "You're a tree hugger and you're a health nut." And it's like, don't you care about your body? Like, and what have, so it's like, I think we just got so programmed into the, chemicals and all the crap in this world, and so far away from natural and nature. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, coming back to that essence, and nature is a part of this whole universe. I mean, it's so when
We
we're
are
not
nature.
yeah, we are nature. Yeah. When we're not natural, our body's like, what the hell,
Yeah.
and it's going to react
Yeah.
because it wants that.
It's interesting. I believe we straddle these two worlds. Like, yes, we're nature and we're of this earth, but we're also, our spirit is of another place. It's of another realm. And that spirit is the innovator. It's the
Yeah.
creator. It's the inventioner. It's the one that builds all of this stuff. Some of it takes us away from our nature, but some of it is technology that is so useful for connecting us and expanding our world, our universe. It's a consciousness expanding energy that is necessary here, that has brought us out of a more animalistic phase of our evolution. So I believe that both have value and that we are both, where we are all of that. Our mind is that great connector of those two things. It's like our body and our essence. And then the mind gets to work and creates just wild things, right? Like we're talking on a microphone across space right now,
Yeah, I know, right?
and
It's so
not
cool.
sitting in the same place and being together. And then this
Yeah.
transmission is going to go out and live in its own way and world and hit the
Yeah.
hearts of people. It's incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible what we can do. And to be in awe of that is part of, I believe, the wholeness journey.
Yeah.
Honor what we can do and who we really are and what we can create and what we really are. Honor all aspects. And that's both this physical earthly nature of ourselves and then this expanding consciousness inventioner imagineer who can
Mm.
create worlds through imagination. We can create things that never existed before through our mind and then put our bodies to work to make it happen. It's just a
Yeah.
wild, wild place.
It is. Well, thank you, Carissa. This was great. You have a free gift for our audience?
I
Do you
do.
have?
So
Okay.
you can go and check out both my work at CarissaSt.Laurent.com or my company, The Everyday Mystic. Through The Everyday Mystic, I offer a program, and this program is a 7-week virtual program where we'd be meeting like this, but it would be live and in person, and or a 3-day in-person actual um, in a place together transmission of that work. And this program is an invitation back to that higher self seat because it's an appointment that we took. We've always had it, but we've forgotten that that's who we really are, that we sit in this beautiful soul seat and we get to orchestrate this entire thing. So getting back to that seat takes some work, takes some effort, but I would be honored to be your guide in that to help people get back to that seat. And that's what the program is all about. It is very
Nice.
unprogrammatic. There's not a step 1 to step 7 type of thing. It's very much working with the energy in the room of the people, what they need, and facilitating that shift and facilitating that opening and helping people get back to that wise place that we already do exist from, but it's just getting back to the remembrance that that's where
Yeah.
we exist from. So that
Yeah.
program, like I said, 7-week virtual or a 3-day in person, and I do them at different times of the year. So you can go on to the everydaymystic.org and see what months the virtual and the in-persons are running. And my free gift to the audience is to have a 30-minute consultation with me to talk
Okay.
about where you're at. What how lost are you? Because we all are lost down here in this plane, and the fun of it is getting back to that place,
Yeah.
right? Everything that I've just described. So, we get to talk about where you're at, where you want to go, and I can explain more of this journey back home.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're
We
very
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you, Jodi.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Bye.